All right, even as you take a look at the dailies, a reminder that the National Assembly resumes its sittings today after a month-long recess. After they passed the finance bill, they went on recess. They're back today, considering quite a number of bills, so we'll be getting a lot of news starting today, the entire this week, from Bunge. Yes, so DCP gets their new member of parliament today. Alikuwa anaitwa nani? Samuel Kamau Ngodho Waweru. Yeah. Na anaitwa Douglas pia.
Yes.
Samuel Douglas Ngodho Kamau Waweru.
Yeah.
Will be sworn in today as member of parliament for All Kalau. So discussions around All Kalau could come back a bit, especially in the dailies tomorrow. But the papers today, and I start off with the Standard. Kindiki stripped. Not the kind of stripping you're imagining. President William Ruto has dealt Deputy President Kithure Kindiki his biggest political blow yet, stripping him of the powerful intergovernmental coordination docket and handing it to Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. Documents obtained by the Standard show Kindiki has lost one of the Deputy President's most influential levels of power, a role previously exercised by both Ruto and Gachagua. The move comes as UDA reels from its All Kalau humiliation and pressure mounts from within the president's camp to rethink the 2027 ticket amid fears Kindiki has failed to stem Gachagua's growing dominance of Mount Kenya. So this story has been given quite some coverage, page 4, 5 and 6 of the Standard. And you know, going back to when William Ruto was deputy president, he was also stripped of a very huge role. The coordination of government, coordination of national government was handed over, I think, to C.S. Matiang'i of Interior. And that was the beginning of the end of that relationship, or cordial relationship, between his then boss, Uhuru Kenyatta, and William Ruto himself. So what the Standard have done, they've published this letter here on the front page. And this letter is directed to the PCS, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, assignment of implementation of a statute, implementation of the Intergovernmental Relations Act. This is intergovernmental is the relationship between the national government and the county governments. It is not coordination of national government. Kuna mambo mingi tu hapa. So it is noted that pursuant to Executive Order number 1, the office ilikuwa kwa Deputy President, the office of Prime, so now it has been moved to Office of Prime Cabinet Secretary. It has been signed by Felix Koskei, Chief of Staff, Head of Public Service. So this is a story, and they've used a interesting photo of the Deputy President looking very forlorn.
Yes.
Yeah.
So will it remain the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary forever, moving forward?
It is still Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. It's only that a role that was previously under the Office of the President has been moved. So will it stay there forever? No, it could still be moved. Moving forward? It could still be moved to a different docket. Once the President issues those orders, well, wow, anafuata tu. So Kindiki loses key counties role to Mudavadi as poll loss fallout starts. That story is, that's a headline on page 6. On page 7, President at crossroads, pressure points testing Ruto's re-election strategy. Yes, that's on page 7. And on page 8, so I'll go and page
4, 5, and 6.
6 and 7. Or page 5. Page 5 is about costly mistakes, wildfires that Ruto started that could consume him. That's on page 4 and 5. And they look at what's happening in Western Kenya with the rise of Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna. Yes. And I can see the IEBC has advertised for the position of Commission Secretary, CEO. Ile Marjan Hussein Marjan, kama hiyo kazi inaenda kufika mwisho. So those are the main discussions on front of the paper, the Standard. Of course, that hepatitis story, hepatitis B, how a new initiative is helping newborns from infection. That story is covered on page 2, and they also cover it, still same page, experts warn that the disease is a silent epidemic and are calling for more funding. People do not understand hepatitis, so it is one of those things that need a lot more discussions. MPs return with packed agenda as reforms bill and oversight battles take center stage. I told you that story about members of parliament, and Duale under fire from fellow CS Wahome over inciting remarks. Alice Wahome ule wa lands and housing. Alikuwa hajafurahi sana. She tweeted about it na akamwambia no, you need to apologize for that. There's another very interesting story. The US is seeking extradition of 6 Kenyans in 96 million shillings cyber fraud crackdown. So Washington links the 6 to an alleged business email compromise syndicate targeting US universities and state agencies. Yes. But je, Kenya itakubali Wakenya waende US? Back page, back to FIFA. Someone is spreading rumors on FIFA. I wonder who it could be. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has hit back at World Cup critics, claiming they were spreading hate and false rumors and arguing the tournament delivered only joy and happiness. One of those decisions that was made was reversing a red card. Because Donald Trump said that was not a proper red card. I know sports and that was not a red card. Then they reversed it. Were those rumors? Wacha mambo yake. That's the standard.
Alright, tuangalie gazeti la Taifa Leo. Vita vya mawaziri ni habari kuu katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili. Wanaita ugomvi kwamba huku waziri Duale akishambuliwa vikali na waziri Alice Wahome na viongozi wengine wa Mlima Kenya kwa dai la kudhalilisha jamii. Ruku naye amejipata pabaya kwa kutaka Mlima Kenya Mashariki ujitenge na magharibi kisiasa. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa pili. Kauli tata ya Duale ndio tukio la hivi punde zaidi kuibua hisia kali kutoka kwa mawaziri wenzake. Sasa kuna uhasama kupasua Mlima Kenya. Naibu Rais Kindiki na waziri wa utumishi wa umma Geoffrey Ruku. Kwa upande mwingine kuna waziri wa ardhi Alice Wahome na waziri wa afya Aden Duale. Vita vya mawaziri. Vidokeza zaidi, raia wa kigeni apigania mali yake isiliwe na mke Mkenya.
Why does that sound like a very familiar storyline?
Yeah.
It always happens. Yeah? Some foreigner comes to Kenya, finds a nice, beautiful woman, and afikiria bas, now I'll live for the rest of my life in the tropics, equator. And I invest mali yake yote hapa, kidogo kidogo. Oh, punde si punde.
Mambo inaenda segemnege.
Mambo inaenda segemnege.
Now, Patrick ampeleka Martha Wanjiru kotini kuhusu mali ya takriban shilingi milioni 60.
Just like that.
Mahakama inavyoanika utajiri mkuu wa magavana. Habari hiyo tutaangazia katika gazeti nyingine, lakini nasema kwamba kesi mbalimbali dhidi ya viongozi hao zimesaidia kufichua mali za siri. Zaidi ya walimu 34,000 kupanda vyeo. Serikali imetenga shilingi bilioni 2 katika bajeti ya sasa kufanikisha shughuli hiyo ya kuwapandisha vyeo. Kule juu, El Nino kuzua hasara ya matrilioni. Benki yasema hii ni FFDB yatabiri hasara ya shilingi trilioni 1.3 hadi shilingi trilioni 2.6 kwa bara la Afrika. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
All right, let's now focus on the Daily Nation. It has a different kind of story altogether. It has a catalogue of the wealth of some people who served as county administrators, governors. Billionaire governors is the main headline. So in corruption trials, commercial disputes, land battles and defamation suits, judges have scrutinized multi-million shilling property portfolios owned by current and former governors that had long remained hidden from public view, illuminating the politicians' financial footprints far more than confidential wealth declarations or mandatory political disclosures ever have. In many cases, the details surfaced not because the county chiefs volunteered them, but because prosecutors, investigators, business rivals, or private litigants placed the evidence before the courts. So the story is on pages 4 and 5, and it has a catalogue of some of these properties. Note that it's not saying that all this property is proceeds of corruption. No. It's only that these people own property and a lot of wealth that has never been known or been linked to them. So once they get to court, you know, investigators do this and come and list all your properties. Hata zile huko umesema. So anasema, oh, so kumbe hii hoteli ni ya yule governor. Oh, so this residential property belongs to this person. In some instances, like for Ferdinand Waititu, the amount in dispute, according to investigators, they told court that this guy owns 1.94 billion in terms of wealth. But the court only found that 131 million shillings is what they could say that this one is questionable. So can you return it? So the rest of the property, according to the court, ni mali yake. Yeah. So that's the story on pages 4 and 5. Cases reveal a striking pattern with each type of litigation exposing a different layer of wealth. Yeah. So ni kama wengine wanaficha mali hapa na pale.
Okoth bado is also there.
Kujulikana ni wao. But businessmen do a lot of that.
Mwana Okoth bado ako hapo. Anasema criminal and recovery cases pending.
It's because he had a case, a serious case, ile 2 billion fraud. Yeah. And at some point he had to surrender property, I think worth over 230 million. Yeah. So they've listed the people who own a lot of property here. Some of them have a lot more wealth than even listed here. 34,000 teachers set for promotions. This is a TSC. And there's a lobby group that has joined a battle against Rironi-Mau Summit Highway toll. They're not opposed to the road. They're saying, okay, fine, why do you want to charge us to use it? Cracks in cabinet. High stakes 2027 race exposes rift in president's top team. You know, there were rumors about possible cabinet reshuffle. But you can see that CSs now are differing on political matters as well. That story of the Irishman, Kenyan love story ends in court battles, is there on page 2. You can read more about that. Kama unataka kuisoma kwa Kiingereza. There's a very sad story on page 3 of this paper. A suicide, accident or murder, they ask. Mystery shrouds students' fatal 22nd floor fall. Yeah? As Wangari Gadhogo prepares to bury her daughter, Margaret Wambui in Murang'a County today, she says only God can make her comprehend how she died in Nairobi 10 days ago. She says a man has failed to explain to her how her daughter failed to her death. Yeah. 21-year-old Murang'a University student who had been in the company of a man. As we say, some of these scripts are just, it keeps repeating itself. So she died 10 days ago from a fall from a 22nd floor building. All right. Ethnic rifts, 2027 political rivalries, rock Ruto's cabinet. Wanaanza kupigana kuhusu makabila. Wewe usiyataka kabila letu pia wewe. Yeah. What's in a name? Duale hyenas love fueling fire or fire of defiance. Now in the mountain, people are calling themselves hyenas. Wanaenda kiambiana mimi ni fisi, wewe ni fisi. Defiance. So it could backfire on some people. Anyway, back page of this paper. That loss to Morocco leaves starlets with a mountain to climb. Talking about matters women's AFCON tournament that kicked off on June 25th. Amekosea tarehe pale. So the coach, Anito Odemba, insists team will rectify mistakes in remaining fixtures and qualify for quarterfinals. Hey, hapo ni shida. Kenya walizabwa mabao manne by Morocco. How will that change? Yes. How will that change? And that open letter by the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, is saying that many people are spreading rumors about the tournament that just ended a week ago. Was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago? So that's a Daily Nation today.
All right, People Daily, Ruto's headache, that is the main headline on the front page of the People Daily. They call it a power shift. That as 2027 draws closer, Sifuna and Gachagua are eroding the president's once solid political strongholds, reshaping Kenya's electoral map and raising fresh questions about his re-election prospects. So Sifuna ako kule Western region, and then Rigathi Gachagua in the Mount Kenya region. That is what the story is talking about. It has been captured in page 4 and 5. Ruto's headache, these two are on the front page. IEBC voter map, counties giving politicians sleepless nights ahead of polls. And that is another story on page 7 of the People Daily. Najaribu kufungua tuangalie these counties ni gani. They're all here, registered voters by county. And these counties are Nairobi, Kiambu, Nakuru, Meru, Kakamega, Machakos. About 23 counties in... Is it really 23? But I think they've just listed them all here. But they say IEBC voter map counties that will decide 2027. Zote ziko hapa ndani, but you can read more of it on page 7. Yep.
What happened is that the IEBC has finally given the numbers. 18 million plus voters have registered as at, I think they're talking about 18 million voters.
Yeah,
Yeah. So people are out to their calculators just trying to see what exactly, how much can you score, region if it votes your way. But, you know, a lot of things that may have changed. There's a Gen Z effect as well. And it cuts across the entire nation. But when I say, oh, even the Gen Z will vote the same way that these regions vote, but will they? Will they? That's a question. But there's something interesting I've noticed on the front page of this paper. And this is about media and the use of AI images. Look at that photo on the front page of the paper. Is that really Edwin Sifuna? Yeah? Does it look like Sifuna?
I wanted to mention it. Nikasema wacha niache mambo mengi.
Are we getting to that level where we'll start using AI-generated images instead of the real images? Because pictures of Sifuna everywhere. You can't say that we do not have pictures of Edwin Sifuna. I don't know why anyone would want to use anything different. Okay. Probably if you're trying to use models to talk about a discussion where you don't want to use real people and their images. But if you're talking about Gachagua, what do you think? Am I being too critical?
No, you're right. It was a thought in my mind. Well, maybe they have their reasons. Watuambie why they've opted for an AI-generated photo.
If at all the Standard would have used an image of an AI-generated image of the deputy president, I don't know why, but it feels a bit foreign or a bit detached. Looking at a picture of someone who has been on the dailies everywhere, and his picture is on main. I'm sure if you open the Daily Nation or the Standard, you'll find a picture of Sifuna somewhere. And then on the front page, you use an AI-generated image. I don't know.
Yep. So that's story on the county is giving leaders stress. Kiambu County is leading. There's a map the Kenyan map has been drawn here, and of course they've listed those counties here. That Kiambu has 2 million registered voters. 2,426,477, followed by Nakuru. Nakuru has 1,965,000 registered voters. So these are just some of the
county.
But
Nairobi has about 2.3 million, which is also huge. So, but Kiambu is really big. If you think about Kiambu, it goes as far as Thika. On the other end, it goes as far as Kikuyu, Limuru, almost Kijabe. Yes, so it is one of the biggest counties we have. So definitely.
And can Kalonzo reverse Kenya's political tide? That's another story on page 6. It's on the top strip of the People Daily.
At least Kalonzo features somewhere. You know, we've been looking for Kalonzo for someone who's touted as one of the biggest presidential contenders. You need to be at least in the dailies regularly. We're seeing a lot of Sifuna, a lot of Gachagua, a lot of President William Ruto. Even Matiang'i appears to be disappearing somewhat. And one wonders, okay, fine, what's happening to these candidates? Even Eugene Wamalwa. When was the last time you saw Eugene Wamalwa on the front pages or even in the inside pages? You need to be making news for you to be, if we are not talking about you as a media. And I know our media gets criticism. That, oh, you focus on Sifuna. Okay, fine. Then who do we focus on now? President William Ruto, of course, is in the news daily. Then Sifuna is in the news. Gachagua is in the news. You can't avoid him because they're visible. So when newsmakers decide to take a step back, what happens? Does the media go seeking them? At least
out of sight, out of mind.
Can Kalonzo reverse Kenya's political tide? Very valid question there. All right. Let's take a look at the Star. Today is Tuesday, so it's a free copy of the Star. It's not for sale. So they talk about Ruto giving out 2 million title deeds in 4 years. And they have highlights of the title deed issuance. So state's aim is to promote economic transformation through the issuance of title deeds. That's the main story there on the front page of the Star. They have no politics from anytime soon. Bendera's rise to lead Coast's top organization is another story there. Mwana City Bendera. Okay. And university ordered to pay ex-aid 1.4 million shillings of unlawful sack. Najua ni vile tunajua ni gazeti la hapa nchini, otherwise tungekuwa tumesahau ni wanazungumzia mambo gani. Glimmer of hope as HIV infections in young people reduce. That's a story on page 2. So Matters Health, they do not talk about hepatitis, but HIV infections in young people is reducing. It's a glimmer of hope. Some reports earlier in the year were saying that it's actually going up. Inside Matiang'i, Sifuna and Orengo plot to lock Western. That's another story. And yes, the name of Sifuna keeps appearing on the front pages today. So this paper comes with a complimentary MyGov pullout for government tenders and job opportunities. Grab yourself a copy of this paper, totally for free today. It's fresh, independent, different. The Star.
All right, very quickly, Business Daily. Puzzle of missing 629 billion shillings China imports in KRA data. They say that goods worth that amount purchased from China and imported into Kenya in 2025 do not appear in the KRA import records, raising questions about possible massive revenue leakages and what Nairobi earns from the shipment of goods from its largest trading partner. Yeah, so data mismatch points to under declaration of imports. That's the main story in the front page of the Business Daily. And bank accounts tip-offs trigger seizure of 15.6 billion shillings in illicit wealth. That's another story on page 2. On the ticker, taxes propel infrastructure projects revival, and farms to reveal litigation history. That's the Business Daily.
All right, let's cross the border and take a look at what's happening in our neighboring countries. And for some reason, okay, let me just give them a benefit of doubt. Our friends in Uganda have been very slow to actually release their papers. Because, okay, fine, the only national paper we understand from Uganda is a New Vision, because they still haven't allowed Daily Monitor to start producing again. They're no longer publishing. So in Uganda, the New Vision finally found it. Nafikiri ndo wameamka sasa. Government opens AFCON tender process. Hundreds of job business opportunities up for grabs. This is interesting because we're sharing this piece of news as well. Remember, AFCON 2027 will be jointly co-hosted by Tanzania, Uganda and Kenya, and already Uganda now. On the front page of the New Vision, we don't have the copy for you, but the main story is about government opens AFCON tender processes. So businesses surrounding AFCON, they've opened the tender already. In Kenya, I don't know if we are there yet. So let's move to Tanzania, see what they're talking about, and we start off with the Citizen. Rent surge, why Dar, and that's Dar es Salaam, outpaces peers in East Africa. So hear this, Dar es Salaam is no longer playing catch-up. The city has surpassed Nairobi as East Africa's costliest destination for prime residential rentals, underlining its rise as one of Africa's fastest-growing real estate investment hubs. So the average rent in Kenya, Nairobi, is about $3,100. In Dar es Salaam, it's $3,500, but DRC remains the most costly at $8,000 for a unit, a four-bedroom unit. So they say Kinshasa's prime four-bedroom villas rent for $8,000, the region's highest, as severe shortages of internationally compliant grade A homes keep demand far ahead of available supply. So this is what's happening. If at all demand is high, the rent goes up. But if at all you have supply, like we have in Nairobi, because the houses in Nairobi are quite a number. Yeah, it means that the rent will remain relatively low. So it does not mean that Nairobi is suffering anything. It's that we have more houses that reach that level, grade A. Yeah. So Dar es Salaam, rent imepanda sababu they do not have enough of those units. Wasiringe. Is black tax family solidarity or a threat to financial freedom? Is an interesting story on that paper. Aha, gazeti la Mwananchi sasa kule Bongo, muuaji wa kimya kimya. Wanazungumzia homa ya ini ambayo tumezungumzia hapa, hepatitis B. Ni homa ya ini, wataalamu waeleza unavyoingia kwenye mwili wa binadamu kuleta madhara. Watajwa kinara wa vifo, mbinu za kujikinga zatajwa, watu wenye umri huu hatarini zaidi. Wanasema takriban watu milioni 2.4 ni Watanzania wanaoishi na maambukizi ya virusi vya homa ya ini B au HBV. Homa ya ini. Hepatitis B. Wamesema leo ni siku?
Yes, World Hepatitis Day.
World Hepatitis Day. All right, so those are the dailies, both local and regional. Let's come back and take a look at the cartoons this morning. And we start off with the one on the Standard. Caricature